We're live.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
It is Stone the Crone
It's
and little cat feet.
Yes.
There we go. We have lights.
We have
Hello.
light. We have action.
We are officially in the witch's corner of the house.
Look at the lovely, lovely painting behind.
So,
Beautiful.
we are chatting.
Yes.
We've been chatting while having cups of tea.
Yes.
I have my dash young cup today.
I have some sort of witch's brew. Is it witch? I'm in a witch's place.
That's
It's a witch's brew.
little cauldron cup.
It's a little cauldron cup. Who knows? It's bubble, toil and trouble in there.
Yes, we remember. Saying hi.
Hi. So thanks for joining.
We're Queenslanders, we're Australians, we're Aussies, we're Queenslanders, and we're probably the two most notorious on YouTube chats.
Probably, yes.
So rather than Twitter, we're probably definitely the most two notorious on the YouTube, and that is actually how me and Little Cat Feet met.
That is, yes.
We met in YouTube chats. And You're Kidding Right, and places
Slightly
like that.
Twisted Female.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we met in the flesh at our rally in May. So I mentioned that I had this little channel, and I mentioned my handle, and Little Cat Feet's like, no way, Little Cat Feet. I'm like, no way, I'm Stone Correct. So we had already developed a relationship and a rapport turfing.
We've done some turfing. Oh, another Aussie here too. Yes, let's do remember. Another Aussie. Yay! Yes, so Queenslanders, we are in a state that has not yet adopted, but probably, will likely soon adopt self-ID. We're fighting it anyway. It's always worth fighting it. It's always worth standing up and telling people what's going on.
Yes.
And fighting our government, which is a progressive government, female-dominated, and utterly captured by trans ideology. Yeah, they don't answer our calls. They don't meet us.
No.
No, they ignore, our warnings. I think they've only consulted with trans activists about this whole self-ID legislation.
Yeah, so according to them, women are not stockholders in this at all. So I don't understand how we're not, but we're not.
No.
So, yes.
Yeah, so we don't matter. So anyone else who has self-ID, or it looks like it's going to happen, for us, it's the Birth, Deaths, and Marriages Act. It's going to be changed so that people can change their gender markers. So instead of having the sex at birth on your birth certificate or sex on your driver's license, it will have gender marker. You can pretty much put whatever you want, and you can change it yearly. Yeah,
and as long as it's not derogatory. So turf gender is a thing, people.
Turf gender, yes, we should do it. So we should do turf gender, yes.
Liz Remember says it's hard for her to find any information in South Australia, but it looks like they've got the same thing going on down over there.
Probably, yes. This isn't directly self-ID, but I've heard recently there's a couple of, I will say, trans-identified men. They will call themselves trans women, but they, two in South Australia have been arrested for child crimes. I don't know what I can say on YouTube. And
I like Sydney Watson calls them friends of the playground.
Friends of the playground, yes, to friends of the playground. And people are saying they're not quite sure which prison they'll go to if they get convicted, because South Australia is quite crazy about pro-trans legislation. So if they haven't got self-ID, they probably will have it. Again, a progressive government for many years. And, I'm progressive. I'm very lefty. To me, progressive means women's rights, but to them, progressive means men's rights to be in women's faces and women's rights to back off and let them do whatever they want to do.
So did you hear about, so we've got the shopping centres Myers here. And so up the coast, they've decided they're going to bring in these gender neutral changing rooms. But here's the thing. We don't have self-ID here. So this is jumping the gun. in that way,
Mhm.
but they're doing it like as in like the companies themselves they're taking this on board, and that would definitely be like an Akon type of influence going through those places.
Yes.
So
that's our Stonewall in Australia.
Yeah, literally our Stonewall here in Australia.
Yeah.
So like I find that a little bit unnerving in the fact that we could do our damn best, but then if these companies decide to just go, nah, we're going to do it anyway, where does that actually leave, your customers? Where does it leave
the staff who are not happy? They're not happy about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So my mate was up at the Sunshine Coast, and she's a handmaid, like, so she's not on board with this, and she likes to shut me down quite a lot. But hey, I just keep going on. But she sent me this photo, and she goes, "I'd like to believe that you're full of shit." I'm like, okay, I like to believe that I'm not, but anyway, and I'd be friends with the ones you think are full of shit. But anyway, and she goes, "But check this out," and she sends me this photo, and I did put a little thing on the channel about it, and it was male's toilet, 3 unisex toilets.
Yes, the men still get their own toilets.
Yes.
The men get their own toilets, and we get all genders toilets or unisex toilets.
Yes, so there was 2 disabled unisex toilet, and the other one that was a unisex toilet was obviously the women's toilet that they've just gone and put a sticker over the top. And she said, "I don't believe in what you're saying, but I'm finding it hard not to believe what you're saying."
Look, people peak when they're going to peak. So maybe she's starting the journey. She's starting the,
she is, because she literally went from, "I don't believe anything you say," to, "Oh, actually, I don't think men should be in women's prisons," to, "Oh, I don't know, I'm thinking all the shit," to, maybe I might thank you down the track. And I'm like, you picked! You picked! Yes. She just won't admit it, but she's picked.
One Queenslander at a time.
Yes,
we've done some leafleting about self-ID.
Yes.
We've been in the city doing some leafleting about self-ID. Once, I got to tell the story quickly.
Do it.
We were so into our leafleting, and we were getting everybody who was going past. Do you remember the cops came past us and said, "Have you seen a man with a knife running past you?" Yes. We hadn't noticed a bloody thing. There could have been 10 men with knives running past us. We were determined to get the word out about self-ID. We just didn't bloody notice.
Serial killers? Does it involve turfing?
Is the serial killer a cross-dresser? Then maybe we're interested. Otherwise, nah. Anyway, so that was very funny. We've been doing some turfing, and we've been finding out that despite what the Queensland government says, Queenslanders don't know this is happening, and they don't like that this is happening. They do not like it. Actually, you weren't with me, but a friend and I went to Beenleigh. I went once by myself and once with my friend, and people were switched on there, but they didn't know it was happening in Queensland. So they've got 3 levels of Labor government there. So Labor's a progressive government, female-led. The Attorney General, who's gung-ho for all the self-ID, is a woman, Shannon Fentiman. She's a handmaid. But yeah, they're aware of what's happening overseas. They're aware of all that stuff.
Men in the last name.
Maybe. Shannon Fenty Man. Yeah, maybe there's a secret. Maybe there's a secret we don't know about. But yeah, so the people of Queensland are absolutely disgusted by this. Some feel disempowered. Some are just like, "Oh, governments, what are you going to do?" Some downplay it. I think it'll be okay. It won't be that bad. It will. And then some are as shocked and disgusted as we are. But yeah. But they want to bring it in the end of this month. So, or next month. We want to, at the very least, stop them from doing it as quickly as they want to do it.
Yeah. And it's very nasty as in timing right now, because you've literally got, we're in October, beginning of October now. Most of our oldest high school children are going to be winding up with their exams right now. So you got
Mhm.
parents thinking about that.
Yeah.
You've got Christmas like a stone throw away. They're going to drop the mic on theirs
Mhm.
and then close up for the year, you know, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so
Yeah.
get that sort of feeling about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that feeling about it. But the other thing that is already happening is a gorgeous puppy here. You can't see him. You can't see him. He's a little dachshund. The thing that's already happening is that people still have the right to go into a bathroom or change room of the gender that they identify as. So without self ID, they can still do it. I might have to come back in a couple of weeks and we talk about crazy stories from the Queensland Human Rights Tribunal. Definitely have to do that. But already things like the Myers policy are happening. There are people, there were men going to women's changing rooms. And I did want to talk about lingerie if you want to ask about lingerie.
Yes.
Women's underwear, lingerie, bras. There, a friend of ours went into a little shop, a little women's bra and lingerie shop, and got chatting with the owner. And he's so cute. Got chatting with the owner, and she unprompted. This was not turf prompted. Unprompted, started saying that they have a man who identifies as a woman and who goes into this shop, tries on stuff, and this is a properly bra fitted shop, you know, not the big W crap I wear. So it's quite expensive stuff.
So it's not market.
It's not market. It's that market, and he goes in and he tries the stuff on, and basically the stuff is ruined. I won't get into too many details, but the stuff is ruined. So yeah, so that is what's happening. That happened. This woman was saying he'll even call and say, "I'll be here at a certain time." So basically, it puts the staff into a tiz because sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. But
that's actually a form of torture.
Yes.
That's a form of torture when you don't know when the person who's the aggressor is going to inflict the torture on you. There's a it puts your head in a state of you know, you just don't know when you're going to cop it.
Yes.
So, and that's part of the whole torture.
Exactly.
Is
That's what he's doing.
If you regulate that torture, whether it be verbal, whatever, you can expect it. You can prep yourself for it.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't come, you can't prep yourself for it. So it literally sends these shocks into your brain.
Yes.
So you get the you know, like the Stockholm syndromes and that type of thing from this type of
psychological abuse. Yes, let's remember psychological abuse, because all they're thinking about is this person's going to come, this guy's going to come in tomorrow. They don't want to confront him because how will he react? Will he take them to court, which others have done? Will he get violent and abusive? But then letting him in, they're losing other customers because they see a bloke getting in the changing room. So this happened at another shop, lingerie shop in Brisbane, in the city.
So this is not the one where he's strutting around outside the dressing room as well. Like,
I don't know. I didn't hear if he was strutting around the dressing room, but this is two separate shops. So one incident was a little over a month ago, and I'm sure it's still going on.
Yes, and that's the guy. He gets changed in the dressing room. Then he comes out of the dressing room and parades for the staff outside in the general area. Then he goes back and gets a little excited over the garments.
Yes. Well, this guy now gets excited over the guy. I don't know if he does that. He probably does. I mean, every AGP does something to force unwilling people to be part of their fantasy. So he probably does. Yeah.
Even so, the excitement comes after they go home too. So it's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? It's the gift that keeps on giving. So you can go home and recall that interaction and then have a little bit more spice for your life from that.
That's it. And then he can look forward to the next time, and then he can look forward to his phone call. And so having heard about this randomly, two upmarket lingerie shops, got to bet that they're happening in pretty much anywhere that women try on underwear. You know, you've got to bet that that's happening. Because we already the shop. Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Well, yes. Another friend and I were thinking of um, going when this guy is there and perhaps making him uncomfortable.
I
Getting our tops off, getting the middle-aged boobs to flop out.
hey, dilators.
Yes, dilators.
Hey,
We'll be there. We'll make him leave.
Yeah,
He'll feel uncomfortable.
We'll go around to lingerie and dressing places, have a quiet talk to the staff,
Yeah.
get them to put our numbers on and dial.
Yep.
Because the cops are not going to help them. The
They are not.
government's not going to help them.
Nope.
Dilators.
I want to traumatize him with just the knowledge of what happens to the human breast once you reach 50. So we'll keep you up on that, keep you updated on that.
Well, the rent-a-hobby was such a big thing.
Yeah.
Like dilator could be.
Dilator, that's it. Absolutely dilator. So
you come in a little superhero cage and everything.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
What was that American slogan you told me?
Our bodies, our turf.
Our bodies, our turf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we come in with capes and megaphones.
That's it. Yes. I like it. Look, direct action.
Well, actually, I was saying earlier in the conversation I had today, because we don't have free speech here, like the guys in America do, that when I'm at a shopping centre and I'm at a checkout, I look at everybody in that line in the checkout with me as a captive audience for that amount of time. So I have these conversations with the checkout chick, or if the woman behind me, or the dude in front of me, and I know we're all locked in here. So then I go and put my groceries in the trolley really slowly and get the most out of me bang. So I was thinking, can I record a pre-recorded thing on my phone? So when I enter a changing room or a dunny, I can play a pre-recorded public service announcement.
I like.
On my phone.
I like.
Hello, this is a public service announcement. Do you understand it under self-ID, blah, 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 blah?
Yes. Oh, I had a conversation with what used to be a very radical feminist organization. I saw them at lunch. I happened to have leaflets about self-ID, as I often do. I thought, I will talk to them about it. They're a women's service. And when I say rad femme, they used to call me male identified for dressing the way I do. So one of them had a go at me for saying I enjoyed flirting. So this is how full on they are. Still, some of the same women work there. But I went up to them and said, hey, are you guys still women's only? Are you still women's only here? Oh, absolutely. And I said, well, do you know what's happening with self-ID in Queensland? And immediately one of them, total identifies as rad femme, one of them said, well, we've supported a couple of trans women in our service, and there's been no trouble. Now, Kellyanne will say, I'm never speechless. I always have something to say. I was pretty much speechless. I did manage to say, well, okay, you've had 2. What happens when it's 10, 20, 50? And then the other rad femme said, well, we're degendering our service. They tossed my leaflets sort of to the side of the table, like, they were covered in shit. I flabbergasted like I am now, just even talking about it. So I said, one of them did say, well, not everybody agrees with this. So I said, well, I want you to take these back to your workplace and I want you to talk to everyone about it. But yes, a radical feminist service saying basically, well, we support trans women after saying they're a women's only service. So they have signed on to the new definition of what a woman is, which is not a woman.
Yeah,
Not a woman. It was insane.
Yeah.
I was angry and frustrated and sad.
Yeah.
Kind of sad.
I used to do a lot of volunteer work for a local art group. And at the same time, I had a friend of mine that works with government, and they were doing a lot of work with women's centre local women's centre that we have here. And when this particular Apollo is not there, I often go have coffee in the conference room with my friend.
Yeah.
She'll go, hey, he's not here. And I'll run down there and have coffee with her. And I sort of left some of our flyers with her, and she said, oh, you know, all the talking points about what about gays and lesbians? What about this? What about that? And she said to me, she said, how about you go do some work with this local women's group that we have here? And I said, do you know whether or not they centre women?
Easy question.
Shouldn't even have to be asked, really.
Yeah,
You're talking about a women's place.
Yeah.
You know, like, so this particular women's space is a building. It's a house that when an old feminist lived in this house, and when she passed away, she left this house to the community to start a women's centre.
Oh wow. Yeah.
That's what this house is. And when I said that, you could literally see in my friend's head the cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And it was the time after that she rang me and said, I come down and have a coffee. And I went down there and she said, I can't comment or like any of your posts on Facebook, but I understand where you're talking. And she said, and I understand we can't have this. She said, I'm just letting you know I've handed my resignation in.
Oh, wow.
So she's no longer working with this political party anymore.
Yeah.
Because that one comment, does this female-only space centre women?
Which is a question. Imagine, would we have asked a question like that 20 years ago?
That's right.
Wouldn't have thought of that question 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Does a women's service centre women? Of course, it's a women's service.
Yes.
But now...
But see, I know, because I've done a bit of research around this, I know they accept trans. So that's how come I knew very confidently that answer could not be questioned. That couldn't be answered the way that for the answer that I would be expecting, that if it is a women-centred centre, then of course it centres women.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's
like a little riddle, isn't
it?
It
is.
Should a women's centre women and the women's centre centre men?
Yes, riddle me this.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Well,
like, but you can tell that because I've just asked a totally ridiculous question, which is a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
That ridiculousness of the question had to be asked for her to make the connection with what I was saying. If I had asked it any other way, it wouldn't have got in. It just wouldn't have, you know, because she's saying, what are the ones about have surgery? What about the ones in prison? What about the ones? And it's like, born a boy, grow to a man, die a man.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
I mean, it is that simple.
Yeah.
If it was easy, if you could change, then the surgeries wouldn't be so woefully unsuccessful. You know, if you could create a vagina on a man that functioned the way a woman's vagina does, they would have done it by now. They've been doing these surgeries since the 1930s. If you could give a woman a phallus that works as a penis does, then we could have done that. But we don't. I'm sorry. Could I even say that on YouTube? It's too late.
Yeah. No, honestly, this YouTube channel will never be monetized ever. Ever. We don't even go to bother going for that. Any donations that you ever want to make, please make them to IWD Brisbane Engine over there. Go give them your money and your love, because this channel ain't never going to be monetized, because I just want to speak absolutely freely. So
yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's just say, because even on this side, we have that thing of, should I say that particular thing?
Yeah.
Well, this obviously not going to get demonetized.
Yeah, no, from the get-go, that was my whole idea of this, is because I really just think it's so important to every woman or any person really to document this moment in time, because I just don't think I just don't think that not leaving a digital footprint, like, someone's going to crack open this black box in years to come and literally go, what the hell was humanity thinking?
Yes.
And that this woman in Australia, this loudmouth in Australia, was speaking truth? What? Really?
Yes. And for the people, anyone watching from overseas who think, well, Australia, you're have a disrespect of authority, and you don't take any ideology too seriously. We are captured. We are so captured in this country. I don't mean people, but I mean the party that I was involved with. God forbid it was the Greens. The Labour parties, the progressive parties. Same as you'd expect from Greens and a progressive party anywhere in the world. Completely and utterly captured. Our national media, the ABC, doesn't give any gender critical people any time to speak. I actually saw an ABC article online that was promoting breast binders. It was talking about this trans man who, had a terrible time at 14 growing breasts, discovered binders, and it changed his life. That's our ABC. It's supposed to be impartial, not supporting
So they
any
had a
side.
terrible time growing breasts.
Yes. Because, the rest of us love puberty. Come on. Nobody loves puberty. But she had a terrible time growing breasts. She felt dysphoric, blah, blah, blah. Reached out. There was a community organization that supplied breast binders. Happened to be run by a middle-aged AGP, funny that sent out the breast binder, and then she has lived happily ever after as a trans man. And that was the first step to feeling comfortable in her body, according to what she said. So this is our national broadcaster, taxpayer funded. It is supposed to be completely impartial, but they promote trans stuff. They promote it. They
have for a long time.
Yes.
So I've got adult children now, and when my kids were still teenagers, but they were still watching the after school programming a bit. I'm very strict on what my kids were watching. Very strict. My son has now thanked me for that too, by the way. Only just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
I know. Yeah. Because he can see timelines of these people and how he's not being caught up in it.
Yeah.
So he can go, this is, So, but it was one particular thing. They had the little kids and they were doing the ABC. And it was Happy Pride. Happy Pride. Happy Pride. And I'm not looking at this guy.
Yeah, I know. And the funny thing is, I was involved in all this LGBT rights stuff in the 90s. I lived sort of in a country area with not many gay people. If I'd seen a pride flag, the rainbow flag in the 90s to the 2000s, I lived there in the 2000s, I was like, oh, fantastic, family, yeah, somebody we can talk to and we can talk about, lesbian relationships or whatever. Now I see the flag and I just, no. I can't stand any of it. I can't stand pride. Any of it.
It's a bit of a monstrosity, that new flag, though, isn't it? Like,
oh, what a shit show. Yeah. It's such a shit show. We've got the trans triangle, the black and brown, I think, to represent people of color, and then the old rainbow flag. And then, you see the people from Pride. So when we had that march and some of the Pride people were yelling at us a bit, they were draped in a Pride flag, the new one, and a trans flag. Honestly, if I wanted to get rich, I'm just going to find who makes trans flags and invest.
Yes.
Because there's so many of those trans flags.
They must have sold those little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon whoever was selling them on the day must have made a mozza.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Because they all had them.
That's their
Listen, remember says, thank you for bringing up about being Aussies. And because people do. Yeah. People do. Yeah, they do. And I had a little bit of in the chat on YouTube, because one of the Americans really didn't understand that we don't have freedom of speech here like they do.
Yeah.
They sort of think speakers' corners on every corner we have. And I literally said, no, you don't understand. It's not that we can just speak because we've got Speaker's Corner. Speaker's Corner is the only place we're allowed to speak freely.
Yes.
And it's a one meter by 1 meter square tile, like a paved tile.
Yeah.
Like, so, but that's the only place you're allowed to speak freely, unless, like the Melbourne women, did you see them this morning?
No, I haven't seen this morning yet.
So the Melbourne women did their Speakers Corner, was it this morning or yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Cool.
Which was really, really great. And it was done in the model of Kelly J sort of style, but they did a whole heap of disclaimers before it. This is not a rally. This is just a group of women talking.
Yeah.
I really liked the way that she opened that forum. And I actually thought about that myself and thought, we could do barbecues.
True. Social event.
We could do social events.
Social event. We say we want. Because, I mean, I don't know if somebody could, but theoretically somebody could hear what we're saying, say that it's discriminatory, or it contravenes their human rights and possibly take us. Who knows? I think we do have that right of that free speech in that little corner, but we don't have written free speech. You know, we can't write what we want. We don't have, mostly we don't have free speech at work. You say in the US, some people do, some people don't. Some people are just going through as hard a time as we are, but we just don't have this free speech at work.
It's not something, and I think that's what I was trying to get through to this person, is that we have to think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
We always have that in the back of our head. We can't just get it out there and think about the consequences later.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always in the back of our head a little bit to how do we do this. You add the Vlad laws on top of that, and then the laws that came in during COVID through how many people can be at a gathering and how many people can be at any type of protest. And we're really backed into a corner.
Yes. Although we're not, we're still small enough that no one's coming after us yet. We're small but growing. Hey, with our so IWD Brisbane, International Women's Day Brisbane is the organization. We've been having rallies, having a meeting coming up about self ID. So we'll talk about that soon. But yeah, I mean, I think the first protest I went to, there were about 30 of us. There are about 30 of us. We've gone up to about 40, 50. But it's because we don't have the freedom of speech and we can't talk out at work. Every rally I've been to, there's some woman who sort of sneaks up, says, hello, I like what you're doing, but I work for the government.
Yes.
I can't be seen here. I can't say anything. They just come up to say they support us. There are certain rules about filming that we have about filming, because you do the filming. If somebody doesn't want to be filmed, they'll wear a little pin that says, I can't afford to be filmed. I will lose my job.
Which then I go around saying, I'm filming. So if you don't want to be filmed, stand behind me.
Yeah.
Because if you stand in front of me, you're going to be filming.
That's it. Yes. So, yeah. it is very full on. So any sort of government job, any level of government, a lot of corporate jobs. A lot of corporations are signed on to ACON. It stands for AIDS Council of New South Wales, but it operates as a trans lobby group. It has, I can't remember what it's called, but it's something like diversity champions. Corporations can sign up to it. So there's a lot of like big banks, of course, our ABC, national broadcaster, all signed up for this stuff. And they have different levels like gold, silver, and whatever. Basically, the more woke you are, the more forced diversity training you have in your workplace, the more trans people you hire, etc., the higher you get on that points ladder. I don't know what it actually gets you, except for what does it get you?
I don't get it either. And
you don't get a free holiday out of that, or
and it doesn't seem like it benefits you for the following year either.
No, because you got to do it all again.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah.
you're going to slip
And
down the rankings.
What are you going to do? So you offered us this amount last time.
Yeah.
Well, you've covered that. What are you going to offer us this time around? You know, so if your computers haven't got the right algorithms and the right things, so you're going to be doing that next. You know, so I personally don't. I don't get it either. It seems to be a lot of money out and a lot of work. Yes. That doesn't actually benefit the company as a whole.
Yes. And that diversity training, I've been to one of them.
We didn't hear. So was it enlightening, as they say it is?
It was very enlightening. Yes, I learned so much. LGBTQIAP+. Yes. I first found out because I asked that the P does not stand for pedophile. It stands for pansexual. But it was an organization. I can't say I'm doing a student placement there. I probably can't say what it is, but mental health. And I just happened to walk in when I saw a genderbread person, heard that they were doing this training, and thought, I think a TERF needs to be here. This is definitely TERF time. And yes, they started by asking us to define all the letters in that LGBTQIAP+. They started with L. What is an L? I said it's a lesbian. What's a lesbian? It's a woman who's attracted to women or romantically attached to women. And they said, well, actually, no. We've changed it to become more inclusive. So it's anyone of a non-male gender attracted to somebody else of a non-male gender. Anyway, so I said, I think you'll find it hasn't changed.
I think I was the lesbians.
Yes, a 20-year-old straight girl telling a bisexual woman that. Anyway, so I think you'll find it hasn't changed. And the definitions are exclusive because they need to exclude people who do not belong under that umbrella.
But I'm just going to say, how did you not say, well, excuse me, darling, but how many vaginas have you licked?
I really should have. There are these young, straight kids, basically saying that. Anyway, they didn't get a lot of the workshop done because there was a mouthy middle-aged TERF in the back, basically arguing with every point. Yeah, it was me. Yeah. They tried to get through it really quickly. They'd been to this all-day workshop themselves. They were all excited by the diverse possibilities. They didn't get to say much, like I said, because I was arguing with them, but they did say, well, we were looking into making our toilets unisex. To which I said, if you do that, I will chain myself in front of them. So they've dropped that. I've got a complaint in.
Hey!
I've complained to the organization that did the training.
As a Greens member, you literally telling me right now, little Kathy, that you have given up chaining yourself to the tree and you're chaining yourself to the Dunedin.
That's right, yes. We need to save women as much as we need to save the environment. But yes.
Oh, I like that. I want that on a shirt.
Yes. No world without women and women's rights. But yes, so I guess I said I would chain myself to it. They were very surprised. They were saying, but you're a lefty. I said, yes, exactly. I believe in women's rights and gay and lesbian rights. This shit is regressive. This shit is boys like pink, therefore they're girls. So yes. Anyway, that was LGBTQIAP+ training. But I probably shouldn't have immediately said, does the P stand for pedophile? Maybe I should have been more diplomatic. But it had been a long, bloody, exhausting day. I was up driving around, picking up bits of furniture and motorbikes, and I was just exhausted. So I was grumpy. The power of a grumpy old woman.
Well, it's actually funny. I think a lot. I do a lot of thinking. People might say I'm an overthinker, but this shit don't keep me up at night. Like I sleep like a baby. Like I do my thinking while I'm conscious.
Yeah.
And just the whole how we've been pushed into this particular moment of time, because I personally don't think there's like they call it synchronicity or synchromysticism, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That we're at this stage where we're so demonized as Karens.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
yeah. You can't make it up. Like this moment in
Mm.
time where just when the pushback, sit down, shut up, Karen, like
Yep. Yes. We get that. I mean, at this point, because no matter what we do, we'll be called old and ugly and whatever.
yeah,
Let's just be old and ugly Karens.
exactly.
Let's just. There's nothing to be gained from saying, "Oh no, we're not like that." Um, I remember a Facebook war with a lot of my woke friends who dropped me, but there was a friend who was quite a bit on my side actually. So she was arguing a little bit with me. But then when someone called us both turfs, she was like, "I'm not a turf. I'm not a turf. I'm not transphobe. I'm not this." I said, "I don't give a flying fuck what you call me. Of course I'm a turf." Yes, it's in what I said about, men and women and women's space. But the minute that she was like, "Oh no, I'm trying to see both sides," they went ahead and said, "You're a turf anyway." They said, "You're a transphobe, a bigot, a Nazi." They called her these names anyway, so might as well own it.
You don't get to choose which of their things that you don't agree with.
Exactly. Yes.
You don't get to choose.
No.
You're either all in
Yeah.
or you're all out. There's
Yes.
no, and with every the other things in life, we can be a little bit going, okay, well, but this, it's all in or all out. There's no middle ground.
That exactly, because they will make us say where we're at.
Yeah. And the trans community themselves do the most peaking.
Oh yes, bless the trans community. They're peaking.
They picked me.
Yes.
I was happy to make costumes for them to be princesses at the
that's right.
festivals,
Yes. Yes.
But then,
because they got you through different music scenes, and that's they peaked you that way.
So let them do the work themselves.
Yes.
And I think that this is going to happen more and more. And I say to the turfing world in general, watch out. Us Aussies haven't spoken up yet. Most of us haven't got it yet. But when we do, I think we're gonna. I don't know yet. I'm gonna say this. We're gonna make Australia the new turf island.
Yes, please. Yes.
Turf island.
That would be fucking fantastic. Yes. Yes. And people do. Yeah, they do peak all the way into peaking.
Yes.
A friend of mine I talked to the other day, he was the one person I hadn't told about my turfing, because he used to identify as trans himself and was still pretty pro-trans. Anyway, after talking to the so-called rad femmes, I just said, "This is what I've been doing." And he was completely on board. He was like, I totally agree. The whole community's been ruined by trans ideology. Men do not belong anywhere in women's spaces. This is somebody who used to identify as trans and didn't really do a big desisting. Basically, I think he just couldn't afford the surgery. So he had never really openly said, "I'm not part of that community anymore," but he was completely on board. He was, he's a bit of a turf, really. So which is awesome. Hello.
We've actually got now all my dogs and my son's dog in this little room with us. So if you wonder why we're distracted, there's puppies everywhere.
There is. They're kind of loving me at the moment, which is nice. So
I'm going to ask you a personal question. You're bisexual, yes?
Yes.
So you enjoy the company of both men and women?
Yes.
Now, as a bisexual person, that's not pan.
Yes, definitely not pan. Yes.
Okay. So I literally cannot get my head around the whole concept of any woman ever wanting to put an arm burrito in her purse.
No. It's in the label bisexual. I like both sexes.
Yes. But
someone who doesn't want to be one and is trying to be another is personally not attractive to me.
Yeah.
in any way. Um, uh, yeah, trans-identified women. I tried to date a couple back in the 90s, and there was no spark. The personalities weren't great. Very narcissistic, very let me tell you all about being trans. That's not dating fun. And just didn't have the working bits I want. I like women who have women bits. I like men who have men bits.
Yes.
And people do get it confused. A lot of people do identify as bisexual and they say, I like all genders. I don't think that's
No.
that. The most
No.
real bisexuals
Yeah.
don't.
Well,
Yeah.
because like I'm
Mm.
heterosexual. I'm
Mm.
married. I've been with my husband since we were 18 and 19 years old, and had 6 wonderful years before we got married and had children.
Yeah.
So, from a heteronormative, if you want to,
Yeah.
perspective, I'm really struggling with the arm burrito.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, I'm like, even if, I mean, because as a
Yeah.
dancer, I can really appreciate female form. Women are absolutely fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can get my head around that. But what I can't get my head around is any reasonable woman, a lesbian, why would you want a body part that's not meant to be
Yes.
attached there anywhere in there?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I mean, it doesn't function. This fallow thing does not function as a penis.
They've got to get the pump device.
Which is the second surgery after the initial phalloplasty. It's a separate whole surgery.
And then there's complications with that, I've heard.
And then there's all the complications. Fistulas, there's incontinence, both, front and back.
And it doesn't erect properly.
It doesn't erect properly.
The functioning thing. So
yes,
this is why
it doesn't.
The delusion of, say, your Jamie Dodgers, right?
Yes.
Okay. The illusion of that shit, where his girlfriend / fiance / wife, if they're married or whatever she is. I said he, sorry, it's a she.
I was going to correct you. Don't misgender her.
It's not happening. So I just can't see that that's not like industry kind of plants. You know what I mean? Because I just can't see.
She, I watched her videos on my top surgery and the complications and my bottom surgery, blah, blah, blah. And this is what a lot of trans YouTubers will do. They'll tell you their horror stories, and they are horror stories.
Yeah.
But then they'll say, but it doesn't matter because I am who I want to be now. They stop short of actually saying you should do the surgery.
Yeah, they backpedal a little bit.
But they are promoting it. They're promoting it. You look at the comments and it's, oh, thank you for being you. My top surgery is scheduled for next week. Yeah, I'm getting hysterectomy, or I just had a hysterectomy, blah, blah, blah. So they have a following.
It's literally, we don't communicate via television anymore. We don't advertise that way anymore.
Yes.
And that Dylan Mulvaney.
Oh.
Like, are you shitting me?
200 days as a girl.
What, 200 days as a girl when you got 7 million subscribers? Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can clearly see that, I mean, for starters, Dylan Mulvaney's an actor.
Yes.
Right? No. I'm sorry. If you've got actor anywhere in your shit, you get paid for lying. Sit down and shut up.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm really, and this has got me in trouble before.
Yes. Women staying with AGPs. Yes, it is. It is women staying with AGPs. It's a heterosexual woman who are staying with husbands who suddenly say they're wives and that they're in a lesbian relationship. I mean, not horrendous. But, I mean, that is a thing with most trans things. Like, say, with trans-identified women, get their breasts lopped off, have this rolled up arm skin. They're not female enough to attract me as a female. And as males, they, once you talk to one, or even if you see one and he's shorter than you, she's shorter than you, that they're not convincing for heterosexual women. they have to go what they call stealth, which I call rape by deception, because
yeah.
it is not telling somebody who you are, getting into, kissing whatever, and then shocking the hell out of them. They do this, but they're not attractive to any, to heterosexual or bisexual or homosexual women. And the interesting thing for me about trans identified women, so pretending to be men, is they don't hang around men. They don't go out to the world of men. Now, if you think about a butch lesbian, that's a woman who used to go into a men's job, hang around men, have to deal with men and, sexism and lesbophobia. But these ones, they do not go out into the world of men. They hide behind the LGBTIQAP+. They hide behind women because they want women to defend them from men.
That is an absolute fact. And I have come across this and I've experienced this. Yeah. I've experienced this through roller skating.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine is dating a woman who is on testosterone. And I defended the daughter because there was a creeper outside the toilets. And I was clocking as I was going around the daughter.
Yeah.
And I went and said, mate, she told you not to talk to her. Leave her alone.
Yeah.
Now, the trans woman, the woman who thinks she should be black, come and hugged me and said, I couldn't do that as a lesbian because that bloke would want to pick a fight with me. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for standing up to my daughter. Now, I deliberately put my bags right outside that bathroom because, one, I could see where it was going around the ring. Two, it's because it's outside the women's toilets. I don't expect men to gather around the women's toilet. This is exactly where that guy was. And what really, really shit me is I was some sort of hero to her and her daughter for standing up, going, she doesn't change how she speaks. She doesn't change what she wears, and she's not fucking moving. Right? But if that man put a wig on,
oh yeah,
he went straight into that bathroom. This woman, this acquaintance of mine, this friend of mine, I've been uninvited to my best friend and their wedding.
Yeah.
So
that's messed up.
Yes. And I only get together with my mate when the trans identified person is out of town. So I'm the secret dirty little turfy friend she keeps in the cupboard.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of people have the same experience. People who secretly agree with you.
Hey, I'm glad you made the stream, Brad.
Hello. Hi, Brad. I don't know why I'm peering. I can't see anything from here.
I know. It's like
I look like I'm carefully looking at the comments, but it's a blur. It's a blur.
You know what?
I had to catch the stream. I read that.
Us old ladies need our glasses on.
That's it. These live on my head usually, like when I'm peering at something.
Do you do the over the top? Do you do the over the top look?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is I am judging you. I'm kink shaming you. That's my kink shaming look.
I just found that interaction with this couple to be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Like that, like not all men, but when they say not all men, they mean all men except for the ones that want to present in women's face.
Well, it's like when they're Me Too, believe all women. But if the woman is talking about a man in woman face, we don't believe her.
Yeah.
We say she's exaggerating. This never happens. I keep showing people examples of trans-identified men who've committed crimes against women and children. They will still say, I show them the UK stats from the Department of Justice, 2021, which is 60% of all trans women in prison are there for sexual offenses. I show them that, and they go, well, that's just the UK. The thing is with trans rights activists and the lobby, facts don't really matter. Facts will just make them shift the goalposts. They don't really care. They'll still say, but what about the trans genocide?
Yeah.
Well, like I don't think there has been a trans person killed for being a trans person in Australia in about 4 years. 5.
Yeah.
more. It's, where is its genocide? I can show them trans identified men who are committing crimes.
Mm.
They can't show me, well, A, how us as TERFs are contributing to violence against them. I can't even show violence against them. Unless there's an overlap, unless there is drugs involved or sex work involved, in which case stand up for them, not trans.
Yes, yes.
Stand up for them.
So when you eliminate the risky situations that people put themselves in,
yes,
when you eliminate that, it wasn't
Yes.
a trans-related issue. It was a sexual violence issue, or
Yes.
it was a drug issue,
Yes.
or it was
Yes.
the wrong place at the wrong time issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, yeah.
So it's very, very interesting. There's a theory that women on testosterone actually do become a bit more violent.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I've got a story about this.
Yeah.
I'm involved with the art community, like I said, quite a bit. I do mosaic. I often will go see different events that are going on. And I was talking to a particular artist, and I'm not going to even mention what type of art they do. And we were talking about the whole trans thing. And he made a really interesting comment, because he's got a friend that is a woman who believes that she's a man. And he said, it is so remarkable how she's the one who says, let's go pick up chicks. Let's go do this. Hey, are we getting punchy tonight? Who, like, she's the one, she's the one who's like, let's do this stereotypical man stuff. Let's get manly, like, and he said it, because when I was talking about it, and I'm very open, I'll just start it with everybody and anybody. And he's going, actually, come to think of it, they're over the top. They're over the top in the way that they perform it. And he said, yeah, it's definitely a performance, as much as I would like to say it's not. It is. And I'm like, walk away from that conversation. Yeah.
And they say, I blame the tea. I blame the tea.
Yeah.
I've seen a trans identified woman wrote something about how she could understand how men raped because of the tea. Because that, she basically had the same desires, impulses, etc. I mean, we are putting wrong sex hormones into women and girls.
Yes.
So the mental health side effects are going to be quite crazy.
There literally should be people all over the world in psychiatry, taking notes on this shit. Like, I mean,
there should be.
There should be, but there's not. Like, this is like one of the most full-on experiments on humanity. Why hasn't it been documented by anyone other than TERFs?
I mean, this will be the lobotomy.
It is
of the century. It will be the lobotomy. That was considered a fantastic idea at the time. It was used on depressed people, unruly women equally. This trans experiment is being done on young women, and young men too. But the 5,000% increase since 2016 is young women. It's an experiment with the wrong sex hormones, with giving young people health conditions that shouldn't happen until you're old, like osteoporosis. It's taking away for all that kind of sexualize, or people sexualize the trans experience. It takes away the one thing that makes sex fun, which is pleasure.
Well, that's
no orgasms.
That's what blows my mind, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Like, that's what blows my mind.
Yes.
Is how can we justify any genital mutilation in this point in time? Like, if there's nothing wrong, if that's a healthy body, then why are we doing anything to touch a healthy body?
Yes.
And like, I have a weight issue, and I've talked about this before. And my weight goes up and down, and I've been used by dancing groups as their token fat girl to bring in big girls to go, look, we're for body positivity.
Mhm.
So I've been used
Yeah.
as that person
Yeah.
where I understand myself. I might have been fit in my dancing, but I wasn't healthy in my dancing. That
Yeah.
wasn't a healthy body.
Yeah.
Just because I could keep up with everybody else, it wasn't a healthy body.
Yeah.
But to have people market you
Yes. Yes.
to their benefit, you know, like what
Mm.
we need is like I've not had any surgery, so my weight, I've not had gastro banding or anything like that. So the 50 kilos that I've lost, which is 100 pounds,
It's pretty awesome.
I've lost,
Yeah.
is on me, and I've got loose skin. That's the body positivity.
Yeah.
You know, you've been a big girl, you've worked hard, you've got loose skin.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is. And that's why I respect, say, someone like Shapeshifter,
Yes.
who's literally understand that they've made this mistake, but are now owning what it is, but doing it in themselves and who they are, and I really respect that.
Yes. So he's a detransitioner.
Yes.
Who did get the
full Monty.
the full the snip and flip. So yes, is basically realizes that he is a gay man, but does not have a penis or desire. You know, it has the appearance of a woman. I know a lot don't, but he has the appearance of a woman. So yes, I mean to be able to do that. So his channel, Shapeshifter, check it out. It's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's really
channel.
good. Yes, really good.
Amazing channel.
Yeah, watching a lot of detransitioners, I think, at the moment. So yes, so yeah, I mean he is still a gay man, but gay men aren't interested in gay men that do not have, you know, functioning bits.
And like they said too, that the forced feminization fell on the gay men too.
Yeah.
Do you know, like that's what he's feeling. He's going, well, wait a minute. I've got this cavity in my body that does absolutely nothing.
Yes.
And all it does is pleasure my partner. I don't get any pleasure out of it.
Yeah.
You know, so you go through this whole journey, you realize you come out the other end, one, not being able to have the pleasure that you want.
Yep.
Two, not being able to give your partner the pleasure you would like to give them.
Yes, yes.
And then three, on top of all that, having your whole LGBT LMNOP group turn on you and tell you you never rated in the first place.
Well, I mean, for me, it's a huge cell phone. They're saying, well, you're detransitioning because you were never trans in the first place. First, I don't think anyone is, but let's say we agreed that there were some people who were genuinely trans. The fact that these people are being let through shows a complete failure of the gatekeeping system, complete failure of the do no harm principle that medical professionals need to do. I mean, every time they say, oh, this detransitioner was never trans, I'm like, yeah, that's the point. They were never trans, but they have been transed. They, you know, have an identity that never existed, that hasn't served them at all well. And, you know, people say, well, they should have read the fine print. They should know this. But a lot of these people are teenagers, and I don't think I made any good decisions until I turned 50. You know, I was still capable of making shit decisions in my 40s, which yeah. Anyway, but so these are teenagers in 20s.
That's right. 20s. And why do you have informed consent? Because they took that out after World War II in the Nuremberg trials. They're not allowed to just come in and test on us. So that's...
Well, it prevents lawsuits.
Well, that's why, you know, like, that's why shit changed. Because the Nazis were coming in and just doing whatever they liked, like Mengele, or Jetson Mengele, and all these lovely experiments he did on the twins. You know, so now we've got to get you to sign it. We've got to get you to go, you're okay with it. And once you sign it, you've just signed over your soul. Well, you've signed over your meat suit anyway.
And you've waived away any right to take legal action, because that's what it was confusing about America. Oh, there was a comment back there of thanks for stopping the AGP, the ABG. Let's pledge to continue to do that every time we see an AGP. You don't belong here.
Karen said, "You've shown up us."
That's right. No pasaras. The solidarity movement. Now I completely forgot my train of thoughts. Something about young people decisions. I learned today that when women get the girls get the double mastectomy. I will not call it top surgery, double mastectomy. And the nipples are removed. Somebody told me, and somebody comment if I'm completely not right about this. This is what I've been told.
Are you going to go Cruella de Vil on us now?
No, well, she said that the nipples can't survive if there's no breast tissue behind it.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Well, I mean, male nipples survive without, but female, like if they, she said anyway, they're sometimes tattooing.
Yes.
To give the impression. I didn't know this until today. I was today years old when I found this out.
Really?
Yes.
Because they do it to the arm burrito too. They tattoo veins on the arm burrito.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have seen pictures of the burrito, and it's
all right.
It's a very large and limp sausage.
Yeah. But they tattoo blue veins on the arm burrito as well.
Which still doesn't look remotely like what it's supposed to be. It really doesn't. Look, save that $100,000 that it apparently costs in some places.
I'm a fan of the tattoo. I'm a fan of the tattoo.
I'm a clean skin.
If I'm gonna go get some ink done, I'm not getting fucking boobs drawn on.
Yeah, no, boobs drawn on or muscles drawn on.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, no. No, I mean,
so with my surgery that went really wrong last year, I was told and advised that there was a possibility that I would completely lose my belly button.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And the whole idea of losing the belly button actually became a bit of a novelty with me.
Really? Like, hey, I could be.
Like, what tattoos can I get on this? I'm like, okay, well, if you have to get rid of the belly button because everything's gone really wrong here, and this is medical, things go wrong. You go in for surgery and shit goes south really fucking quickly.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, well, don't worry about putting my fake belly button in. Just, I want to be sewn up. I want to see overused people in white jackets. I'm done.
Yeah.
Done.
Because I'm not an innie or an outie, I'm a naughty.
Yeah, just but that's the thing. Like, I can't even get my head around the concept of when, say, yeet teeth.
Yes, this is the doctor who does
little chunkies. Little chunkies.
Dr. Cy Gallagher. Yes. Yep.
So when they go in, do they have to present what they want to some sort of board? Like, who presented the idea of lobbing off boobs with no nips, and who rubber stamped it?
Well, I mean, yes. Rexlandia, great turf from New Zealand, always just says follow the money. Because the trans movement is not a civil rights movement.
No,
it does not. It's not started from the ground. There are people who finance that sort of stuff, people who give money to trans organizations. A lot of trans people are very high up in IT positions, the military, the government, etc. I'm not saying this as a conspiracy. I'm just saying these are people with a lot of power and privilege who are acting in self-interest. So it's not a conspiracy. It's just people will act in self-interest. The more power and money they have, the more they can act.
Sometimes I take off the turf hat and put on the tinfoil one, right?
Yeah, tinfoil hat. But it's just how life is. I mean, I act in self-interest a lot. I have limited power to do so. These people have a lot of power. They run Reddit. I mean, Reddit kicked off gender critical very quickly, but I actually get notifications for F2M, M2F, or transgender surgery just to see what they're thinking about. And yeah, it's a scary little world there.
Yes.
And
I had noticed that too. It's very much coming from the top down, not the bottom up.
Yes, yes.
So I struggle with people say that it's a grassroots movement. I don't see that.
No,
I don't see
it's
that.
not. When, because I was still involved with the Greens, 2017, marriage equality, the marriage equality referendum in Australia. Do we legalize gay and lesbian marriage or not? So I was door knocking for the yes side. And the thing is that was kind of a big goal for the LGB movement to have that civil right, to have marriage equality, to be able to be in a family just the same as anyone else.
A lot of parties went off after that.
Oh God, yeah. No. Also, it was a 2-day party. I'm not even, with the woman anymore. But I want them all to get married. It was fabulous. But after that, a lot of gays and lesbians were like, "Cool, we've achieved this." So they sort of left the organizations or weren't that active, because that's the thing. This is why you have a civil rights movement, to get rights. Once you get rights, I'm not going to bother people for special rights. Got rights. And so the trans people sort of moved into it and said, oh, great, now we're going to add our letters to LGB. We're going to basically fight for trans rights, which have always been special rights. There's no rights that trans people don't have.
No, that's so correct.
Employment, relationships, they can marry who you want, so there isn't any rights they don't have. Oh, I see. Let's see help. Let's see help. Oh, yeah, let's talk about nipples.
The tatted nipples were created to help women with the recovery from breast cancer.
Oh, very interesting. Which, fantastic. I mean, that is causes dysphoria.
Yeah, I'd probably just give 2 big eyeballs.
I would miss them. I would miss them. They're heavy. They're really annoying.
But that's a new channel. Why are they looking at me?
Well, they call them headlights, but I mean, there are women who need breast cancer surgery who are on the waiting list in places like Australia and the UK, which have public health systems that put trans surgery through.
I had a friend growing up as a teenager, and beautiful girl. Her mum had one removed, and I remember very, very clearly go over to her place, and she was sewing 2 bras together. Yeah. And she was padding. Yeah. The bra. Yeah. So she was backing it and padding that one side so that, and she was funny, like, as Aussie women are, like that. And pretty just ochre. And, was very open about it. And, just complaining that she'd put too much padding in that side. She'd be walking crooked. But, and then to have, like, for myself, a young girl that went to high school with my daughter, they finished 2019. She's now had a double mastectomy.
Yeah. And all the things that the side effects they're getting, if they'd actually asked anyone who's had breast cancer surgery, like phantom pain. Yes. Back pain, phantom pain, nipple pain. All this sort of stuff. I mean, whatever they're tattooing on themselves to approximate a nipple, they have pain where that used to be. But they, they're just not asking questions. Now, I've always had friends who have, had been into plastics, cosmetic surgery. I considered it myself. I wanted a little bit of a lift. Didn't do it. I actually went in and asked questions. I said, I want to see your before and afters. I want to know everything about this. The cosmetic surgeon couldn't handle it. He was like, nobody asks questions like this. They just ask, how big can I get, or how pert. So these women weren't asking questions of the surgeons except for, how big can I get? Can I get lipo? Can I get a BBL? Can I get this, that, and the other? They're not asking, and these are women in their 30s and 40s. So these teenagers and in their 20s are so desperate to get this done as quickly as possible, get your wrong sex hormones, your puberty blockers, get this journey done quickly, show off your scars, as apparently they did in Pride the other week. There were women who took their tops off to show what were called, it's actually just called the zipper scar, to show that off. They're so in a rush together. They're not asking any questions. They're not reading the 6-page, things that might happen.
And that's how the informed consent works.
Mhm.
Because people assume that the surgeon, they're going to give you all the details that you need to make this informed consent. That's not how it works. You have to ask the questions. If you don't ask the questions, it's sort of like the movie I, Robot, right? Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Like with the hologram. Oh, that's the right question. You can move on to the next thing, but you haven't asked the right question, so you don't get the right answer. So, I didn't get my informed consent properly. Well, it's because you didn't ask the questions properly, and they're not going to give it to you willingly.
Oh, of course not, because it would scare the crap out of people.
That's right.
If they're just thinking about how it'll look. As I say, women who want breast reductions can't get them, or can't get them done properly. That they won't do it. Yes. It's the same with hysterectomies. I had endometriosis, didn't want kids. Asked around, I said, I want a hysterectomy. I'm glad for different reasons I didn't get it done, but they basically said no. You were 22. You're saying you don't want kids now, but if you change your mind, we're not going to do the surgery. But they're galloping ahead with all that. So women who want breast reductions for perfectly valid physical reasons like intense back pain can't get them. So they're sort of galloping through all these processes. I mean, honestly, if I thought that the 15 to 17-year-old could handle every decision in life, I would get them to do my taxes. Give me some investment advice, go off and drink, get a tattoo, whatever you want. Make all my decisions for me, kids. But we let them make these decisions, which are, you never come back. And some of them think that their boobs will grow back if they want them to.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't that male doctor, the one that wants to grind the bones? He literally said that. He literally says, you just put on weight, they'll grow back.
Yeah, that's right. Oh God. Yeah, he said that. And there are people who believe him. I mean, it's not like we're getting taught proper biology nowadays. So
no, well.
There are guys who think that they will have cervixes when they get their vaginoplasty.
Well, I actually worry about that. I worry about the young man who thinks he's a woman, or the young woman who thinks they're a man, and they've been hit by a car or they've had some sort of accident, and there's nobody around that knows them and recognizes them.
Yeah.
And they've gone straight into the emergency room, for example. And oh, look at that! No, the blood's down. Give them a blood transfusion. You've just given them someone who's been pregnant in the past blood, and now you've got a poisoned man there.
Yeah. Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
That like for me, I've had 2 babies. I've been pregnant, and this is when we go give blood. You tick the box that says, "Have you been pregnant before?"
Yeah.
And you tick that box because men cannot have a blood transfusion from a woman who's been pregnant before. It's actually dangerous. It's poisonous to them. I do like the idea of this, that I am just poisonous to men.
Exactly. My blood will kill you. Yes. Yes. Well, yes, but I mean, this is going to be a very interesting time in 10 years. In terms of lawsuits, just in terms of the care needed for these people who are either recovering from surgery, going through complications from surgery, other complications, like I said, young kids with osteoporosis, people getting dementia and going, "You've mutilated me." This is a thing that's happening.
It's happening. It is happening.
It's happening. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's happening.
Yes.
Where they have dementia or they've had a brain injury and they're in the hostel or the hospital that they're in, and they literally go, "I'm a boy, not a girl. I'm a girl, not a boy." You know, and it's a friend of mine works in aged care. Yeah, and she said that they've had both sort of things happen there. Yeah, they've had a man who says he's a woman go, "Why why am I like this?
Yes. What have you mutilated me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they've got another one
Mm.
who's come out as trans
Oh God.
now.
All right.
Because he's heard that you gotta like this. Ready? He's heard the women will be nicer.
Well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. We are eternal victims to be kind.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
so-
you're trans. Oh,
and he says this to the nursing staff.
wow.
I want to be in there because
Mm.
the women will be nicer. It's
Mm.
almost like, okay, I will demand it.
I mean, people who say, for example, that no male prisoner would take HRT and transition to a woman just to get access to women don't know how predation works. I mean, if you think about teachers who've done that, they've gone and got a degree. They've gone and got a degree to get into a school, to slowly get to know the students, to groom them over a long period of time in order to get sexual access to them.
Mhm.
I mean, just saying, yeah, I'm a Sheila. I want to be in the women's prison. That's nothing. That is nothing. And of course, men who are in prison for violent offenses have nothing but time to think about this.
No, they do.
Think all the time. And they will do it. Of course they will.
They want to get as long as they can out of that opportunity because they're opportunists. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't just jump into it and fire it off and hope for the best. No. You gotta plan that shit fucking perfectly.
Yeah.
You know? Just even dealing with these predator men. A friend of mine just recently has gone through this whole shit with a guy that she's met up online. Single mom, kids, not with the partner anymore. Finally getting back into the dating scene, comes across this physically abusive man. Finds out he's got 3 women on the go.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Like 3 triangulating. Anyway, she's got in contact with one of them, and he bit her foot so badly that he did nerve damage to her foot.
Oh, Jesus.
And like my mate's like shooken up about it. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
It's like, but I said to her about the type of man who would say that he's a woman to get themselves out of prison time, and I didn't like him paying like straight up. We didn't, and I reckon he'd do that. And she goes, "Oh, I don't know about that." Anyway, now that she's gotten with one of the other girlfriends, and the other girlfriend is actually gone to court and everything with it. They got their phones together. They realised that he had copied and pasted. And pasted the same message to both of them, so they were able to line up this conversation. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, she's gone. Yeah, you're right. I reckon he probably. She now says, I reckon he probably would do that to get it out of it because he's taking the next new missus to court.
Wow, yeah. Well, that's one thing that trans identified men are very good at. Litigation. Litigation. There is I probably shouldn't even say the name in case he sues you, but there's one who's sued a lot of gender critical women. Sued a women's only app.
I get a laugh out of him.
I know. Something to do with tackle. Anyway, so yes, taking through court. Like I said, we'll come back and I'll just I'll go through some crazy ass human rights tribunal shit, which I didn't prepare today. But but it's just they're taking women to court. They're taking women's only spaces to court. They're trying to get in everything. They are happy to.
He's particularly nasty.
Yeah,
he's particularly nasty because he'll do it while you're pregnant.
Yes.
And he will drag that right out to the last bloody minute.
Yes.
So that's just total. Again, that's torturous and very mind manipulative.
Well, when people say, "Oh, they wouldn't do this manipulative thing to get into a women's prison. They wouldn't want to drag down a women's service or business, to have it closed just because they weren't invited." Yes, they will. Yes, they will. I mean, that's happened overseas. There's Vancouver Rape Relief that was the trans-identified man wanted to be included. Wasn't, because it's a women's only service. So he decided to just take them down, and go for their funding, and that's what happened. So that's what they do.
So,
Hmm.
man, we've been chatting for a little while here.
Oh yeah.
So,
It's not very linear. We're just,
we're all over the place. So in 1997, I believe, in Tasmania, that was when they changed the laws about being gay down there. So before 1997, in Tasmania, it was illegal to be gay.
Yes.
So when you look at the timeline that from there to now,
now it's illegal to not be trans. Practically.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, for a very, very short window of time, if you were a gay male or a gay woman, you've had this very short window of time where you've been able to get together, have your own events, and now you can't.
But it was a glorious 20 years. It was a glorious 20 years for not just LGBT. It was a glorious 20 years for any alternative community.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I used to be a goth back in the 80s.
Okay.
The music, it was all, Sisters of Mercy and,
Absolutely.
Cure, all that. So I loved the music,
stuff.
right? Loved the music. But it was just a fantastic time to have confused feelings about, androgynous women and men were wearing makeup, and it was fantastic. People say, oh, we're breaking the gender binary by calling yourself no, you could do anything pretty much from not everywhere in the world, but in certain cities, from the 80s till about the 2000 and maybe 12, 13. You had so many different ways to be a man or a woman.
That's right. So Kat, you just met my husband today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not many people meet my husband. I've actually had friends for years that thought he was a myth.
Husband.
I know, right? No, seriously, like dance friends and that.
Yeah.
Because he has his stuff and I do my stuff.
Yeah.
We just they didn't meet, so they thought he was a myth. And then when a couple of my reenacting friends did meet him, they were like, why isn't he wearing armor? But he has long hair.
Yep.
He has earrings in both ears.
Yep.
And he's certainly not a woman.
Yeah, exactly. It's certainly not a woman.
No, but so we've come from that whole long hair, earrings, tight pants,
eyeliner, nail polish, and women that were very, very androgynous. I mean, my ex used to get challenged in the women's toilets, so so it's not like there are women who don't understand.
That's right.
What it's like to be challenged in the women's toilets. As a woman, I was like, oh, she's got boobs, come on. Anyway, but yeah, that used to happen. But I mean, that was just part of the beautiful sort of kaleidoscope. But I feel desperately sorry for millennials and Gen Z, because they don't have that sort of space that we had. Like you said, things were decriminalized, around the 90s. So it was new, it was exciting. Everything, the alternative scene was new and exciting. Gay scene was fantastic. It's just, I didn't realize it was the golden time that would end.
So where were you in, say, 97?
97. I was in Brisbane. I used to go out to the Wickham a lot. The Wickham was pumping back in the day.
Was it?
It was pumping. Yes. Gay lesbian bar. We would dance on tables, and
I lived walking distance from the Wickham.
Honestly, it's so dead now. But it was pumping. So I was doing a lot of that. I don't know. I think I just got into a relationship with my ex. It was just, the 90s. I was involved in feminism at that time, which I stopped until now. And was involved in a uni feminist group that we took a sexual harassment campaign to the colleges, which are very traditionally very sexist, very hostile. They were so hostile. But it was worth it. It was fun. I didn't want to just hang around at women's collective, with other feminists. I wanted to see what was out there. So so we're doing a lot of activism like that. I would have been involved with the Greens, yes, back when they were green. Yeah.
I was hanging around the music scene,
Yeah.
an alternative community
Yeah.
here. This is
Yeah.
no lie. This
Mm.
is how so heteronormative I am, and how just I have no concept of this shit. So when I have conversations with lesbian people as well as I just want to pick their brains because I don't understand it. Like I'm like, okay, I like my man.
Yeah.
I know he smells all manly. I love that type of shit.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I want to, from that perspective, I want to know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm actually curious about what clubs, you
Yeah.
went to in the 90s, what music scene,
So the guys were playing in the city, and I was going to catch the train in and meet up with them later. Because this happened quite often, because I'd do the sound check and all that garbage.
Yeah.
I'd have to go to work, and then I'd be meeting up later. So I'm walking through the valley, and I had this woman come out of. Do you remember Rockefellers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this woman came straight out of Rockefellers, and she asked me, "Do you know where I can get some chewing gum?"
Okay.
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 I go, yeah, mate. There's a news agency on the road there. I'm pretty sure they're going to have some PK for you. Right?
Yeah.
I get to the gig with the boys and I go, oh, it's when I come out of Rockefellers and says this. They're rolling across the floor laughing at me. I'm like, what did I miss? What do I
think I missed it too.
Yeah, no, apparently the chewing gum was code for, she'd like to share the chewing gum with me. Like,
I didn't know that.
I'm like,
didn't know that.
And anyway, apparently the heads up was that she came out of Rockefellers.
See, I never went to Rockefellers. But there were different lesbian bars there. There were like working class lesbian bars. There were, lesbian bars where we'd all wear neoprene. It's a thing. Neoprene, shoes up to here, all that sort of stuff.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm like, I'll be getting hit on, and because it's not in my scope of being a heterosexual woman, that I don't even get the come-ons. They don't register.
Oh well, that early 90s that happened to me. A friend invited me around to her place to chat and to spend the night. That's how stupid I was. And basically played a 70s lesbian softcore porn film.
I love it.
Bilitus, if anyone don't though. It's not that great. Bilitus.
Yeah.
Not went over my, over my head. I was like, oh, she's straight. Didn't even think, that maybe she's only straight. Yeah, anyway.
It'd go over my head.
Very sorry. If you're watching, very sorry. I just missed all the cues. No. Could have been fun.
Could have been fun.
It would have been fun, probably. But no, the cues. I don't know.
And I don't see them.
Yeah.
I don't hear them.
Yeah.
I don't get them because it's not something that. Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to be subtle cues now because you can't openly talk about it anymore.
That's true too.
They're going to have to be like secret lesbian and gay online spaces that talk in code in order not to draw the ire of the trans community.
So is that not absolutely regressing back 50 years?
Oh, hell yes. It is regressive for everybody. We're being told that, the sexists used to say only women wear makeup. Feminists say men and women can both wear makeup. And then the gender ideologues say, if you wear makeup, you're a girl.
Yeah.
Not boys don't, but if you wear makeup, you're a girl. So this stuff is hideously regressive. It's not anywhere that I expected that we'd be. But sometimes you have progress and you think it's just going to keep progressing.
Yeah.
But maybe we didn't pay enough attention to the men's rights activist movement, which I think the TRA is the MRA.
Yeah, I agree too.
Yeah, we didn't pay much attention to them. I knew a litigious trans-identified man in the 90s who even sued a place he was volunteering at for transphobia. He was taking all the women's only organizations to some sort of administrative or tribunal or court or something. And I thought, well, he's a pain in the ass. This person is obviously unhappy in life. I didn't think that it would become a whole movement where everybody is, where this is what we think is normal. Yes, fascinating topic.
Hello,
I'm not quite sure which
hello.
one. Hello. Did I think that says SMEGMA. Yes. I'm just reading.
Smegma.
Smegma, yes.
Smegma.
Smegma.
Like Smeagol.
Full name.
Smegma. Hello, Smegma. Welcome to this Aussie
welcome.
Turfy channel.
That's it. I just kind of like your name.
Now, I think we're going to end it here because
yes.
where we are in my house is the sun sets right here. So this is literally the hottest part of my house right now. So I don't know what I'm going to do over summer other than...
It's a little cozy, isn't it?
Yeah, other than bring a fan in and blow.
Oh, no, Smegma just got here. That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, can I briefly talk about the meeting?
Yes.
For any, I know a lot of you aren't from Brisbane
so
or whatever.
Hang in there. We're not going yet.
The glasses are on. The glasses are on. Look, this is my middle age. I'm judging you. Look, absolutely, I'm a Karen. But there is a meeting that our IWD Meanjin group is having on the 12th of November, 12:30 to 3:30 on Saturday, 12th of November, at Royal on the Park, Alice Street, Brisbane. So basically, this is a meeting about why women oppose sex self-identification in Queensland. There's lots of speakers. Fairness in sport. Deborah Kaysen, she's fantastic. She's a 5 times Commonwealth weightlifter who actually ended up having to lift weights against Laurel Hubbard and found, her sport was stolen. So there's that. There's the impact of sex self-ID on lesbians, impact on women in prisons and on crime statistics, which very interested to find out more about that. We really, besides the lack of freedom of speech, freedom of information in Australia is hideous. Yeah, it's hideous. To find out things like how many men identify as women are in women's prisons in Queensland. Yeah, you have to do a whole bunch of freedom of information stats. They don't let information go, especially if it makes them look bad. So this will be interesting. Yeah,
we literally have just under 10,000 men in prison in Queensland prisons right now, and under 800 women in prison in Queensland prisons. So if men start identifying with as women, you can literally find in Queensland here that we are going to have more men in women's prisons than women.
Absolutely. It's already on the way in the UK and in the US. Hopefully the UK will turn that back. But yeah, so Gender, Sex and Shame, Edie Wyatt, she's got a YouTube channel. Please check it out.
She has a great YouTube channel.
Yes. Edie Wyatt, that is WYATT.
She's back on Twitter.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, most of us have been suspended, banned, reported on Twitter at some point. I only go to annoy trans activists, really. There's a Dr. Diana Kenny, an alternative to the affirmation approach. So everything we've been talking about people transitioning young is because people use the affirmation approach. It's actually in some places illegal not to use the affirmation approach, to say wait and see, or maybe you're not actually trans, maybe you're just gay, maybe you are on the autism spectrum, etc. Sorry, my phone's going.
That's right. No,
going crazy. Yeah. So
I've written a holy mail, not hotmail.
holy mail. Holy mail. Yes. Yes. Oh, maybe. Do you want to put the IWD Brisbane Gmail down there? Because that they can register for that meeting.
Yes.
On the 12th of November.
Any Queenslanders, Brisbane's out there, Brisbaneites? Brisbane
I know we've got Aussies, but
okay. So this is my email address. Lest you remember, so I'm going to whack that up there. So there's my email address. So if you want to email me, that's the best way to email me.
Oh, someone said, how often do y'all stream? This is the first time I've been here.
This is the first time I've had little cat feed in the house. I would love to do this again. I would love to do it again.
Desperately want to do stories from Tribunal.
Yes. So we've got the rally coming up at the end of October.
29th of October.
Yeah.
Our Peakers Corner.
Peakers Corner. So
Yes.
we'll be live again on IWD Brisbane,
Mm.
the engine site.
Yep.
And then we've got the No South ID conference coming
Yes,
up.
on the 12th of
So
November.
a
So
lot going on
Yep.
in Brisbane Vegas
Yep,
and Queensland.
some major turfing. And then of course we'll be going out and talking to people about turf stuff. Heaps fun. And hopefully not noticing men running by with knives. That was hilarious. We were in the zone. And like Stone, I'm also a person who, if somebody is not able to get away right away, they're going to hear a little bit about this stuff.
Yeah, totally.
I do have friends actually now go, look, please, I know enough about it. Please stop talking about this.
That was bizarre though. Hey, that cop going like he's run through here with a knife, and we go, huh?
Yeah, yes. We just didn't notice. Fabulous.
We
Fabulous
have jobs
time.
to do.
Yeah, exactly. We had people to peek. So yes.
And I can vouch, little cat feet, and the way she can give out a flyer ain't like nothing you've ever seen. People, it's like bam, 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 bam.
Oh no,
bam.
you're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You're awesome with the flyer. Stone's awesome with the flyer, and also with just going, you're there, I'm going to speak to you. You know. Well, we did. We sort of corralled them
Yeah,
into.
we
We corralled them. They need to hear about this. Actually, Linda and I, when we went to Beanley, we actually went into shops and talked to people. We're not supposed to. We got kicked out eventually. Not supposed to do that, but it was great. It was great. We the first place we walked into was a mechanic. They're fixing cars. We're right in the shop going, hi, we'd like to talk to you about self-ID. And he ended up being very on board, and so was his apprentice. And he said, my wife's at the front of the, in the reception area, and then her co-worker. Then somebody wandered in, and she said, there's so many trans-identified men in the caravan park I live in. She has to have a Belgian Malinois dog to, sort them out. It was just incredible. So yeah, we'll be taking. Well, I'll be taking, because my poor woman is injured the cause.
I've got a broken toe. I've smashed my pinky toe knuckle and caused a very big ouchie. So
Yes.
I'm a little out of being able to distribute some flyers until I can get a shoe back on my foot.
That's right. The things to do for the cause, not that.
I was going to do it anyway. I was going to do this pamphlet. I was going to hobble. I was going to do it. And our fearless, brave leader said, how about you have this one off?
Don't. Yes.
Just don't.
Yes. We don't want to sacrifice anyone for the cause just yet. But we will continue to confront the AGPs and turf. So, yes. What is it? The trolls can be vicious? Oh, no.
Okay, so the email's not recognized by Gmail. What does that mean?
You
fixed that? Excellent.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Well, when I get off, I'll jump on and say hello to you. So,
I would offer, but I never check my email. I gotta be honest.
Honestly, neither do I, but I will this one time just for you, Lise. Just for you. Nobody else.
That's right. It's very special. Well, yes.
You're welcome. Actually, I tell you what, I'm probably better at messaging through Getter lately than anywhere else.
Oh yeah, I haven't gettered the Getter yet.
I haven't
gettered the Getter yet. No, I'm still having fun on Twitter.
Yeah. No, actually, Getter's been really good to me. Really, really good to me.
I've heard.
Yeah. And I think for me, that's what I like my social media for, is I like to be able to go, okay, I'm turfing. What's turf news? Where are we going at? You know, what's going on in this world? And do I need to be shouting about it to somebody in a grocery shop?
Always. Yes. Always. So, yes. Well, thank you for having me here to,
You're welcome.
Talk about what about lingerie self-ID?
Yeah, general
LGBTQIAP plus.
Yes,
crap.
So I definitely would love to have you back, and
I'd love to come back. Yes,
have another sit down, have a coffee, and chill and chat, and pat my dogs as they come in.
I know the gorgeous little baby. Did you see the little dachshund?
Yes. So I have a dachshund. His name is Chaos.
I have a cat. Her name is Killer of All Other Animals. Because when I fostered her, I wanted to foster other cats. And then we ended up babysitting a cat, and I realized that she will destroy all other living beings.
No.
She said no.
She said no.
Came
Mum.
down like the goddess Kali and said, "I will destroy."
Mum.
So
Mum.
yeah, Mum.
One cat person here.
Exactly. Yes. So anyway, I have a lovely cat. I'll show it next time.
Okay, so I'm gonna love yous for now. We'll talk to yous later.
Yeah.
Remember, stay loud, my friends.
Yeah.
And for now, stone out. Bye, guys.
Little cat out. Cool. Oh, that was fun.